This is Danish English weekly news updates and business from February 17th through 23rd. Good evening and welcome to Danish Info News TV. On tonight's top stories, authorities raise the alarm as more young Danes abuse pain medications like pregabalin and gabapentin. The new theater reports harassment and suspect Russian propaganda ahead of its Ukraine Voices event. A 76-year-old woman falls victim to an online scam by a fake lawyer. The health authority warns against dangerous puff bars and e-cigarettes following a fatal poisoning. Stay tuned for the full reports. To the first of our main stories from Tuesday, February 17th. More and more people are abusing pain medication, authorities now raising the alarm. More young Danes are increasingly abusing pain-relieving medications such as pregabalin and gabapentin, also known as gabapentinoids, which are normally used to treat epilepsy and nerve pain. The Danish Health Authority is now sounding the alarm and wants the substances to be covered by narcotics legislation, placing them on par with opioids and benzodiazepines. The abuse has grown significantly in recent years. Figures from the Poison Information Hotline show that the number of pregabalin abuse cases has quadrupled in 3 years, and the vast majority involve young people under 30. Many use the substance to enhance the effect of other drugs, but it can be highly addictive and cause serious side effects, especially when combined with opioids, where the risk of overdose doubles. The substances are increasingly being sold on social media and have now entered the criminal market. The Danish Health Authority therefore wants to make it illegal to possess and sell them without a prescription, which would increase penalties and give police more tools. Former users describe severe withdrawal symptoms and a difficult path out of addiction. Authorities urge young people and relatives to seek help early as efforts to combat the abuse are intensified. To a different main story from Wednesday, February 18th, theater experiences harassment over Ukraine event, resembles Russian propaganda. In the weeks leading up to the support event, Ukrainian Voices, Stories of Freedom, on February 22nd, the new theater has experienced extensive harassment on social media. According to director Kasper Becknes, the theater has deleted or hidden around 150 to 200 hateful comments on Facebook and Instagram. The comments include claims that Ukrainians are Nazis, as well as posts featuring Russian flags, skull symbols, and other propaganda-like imagery. Becknes believes it is coordinated Russian propaganda, as many of the profiles behind the post appear to be fake accounts or bots without personal content. Several of the comments also resemble each other and may be AI-generated. The event takes place 2 days before the 4th anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and will include participation from Ukrainian Nobel Peace Prize laureate Alexandra Motvechak and Danish actor Nikolai Costa-Waldau. The theater has not contacted authorities, and according to partners, this type of harassment is highly unusual. Still on Wednesday, February 18th, fake lawyer scams woman out of thousands. A 76-year-old woman was scammed online by a person posing as a deceased friend's lawyer. This was reported by the South Zealand and Lowland Falster police in their daily report. The woman from West Zealand was contacted online by someone claiming to be the lawyer of her Facebook friend from abroad who had just passed away. She was told that she was listed as an heir to the deceased and needed to transfer several thousand krona as a fee to the lawyer who was also claimed to be the executor of the estate. The person also claimed to have been a lawyer for former President Barack Obama. The scammer succeeded in getting the woman to transfer several thousand kroner. After the transfer, she contacted the police due to suspicions of fraud. She was advised to block further correspondence with the scammer. 5 good tips to avoid fraud. First, meet the person in person. Second, do not transfer money to someone you have not met in real life. Third, be cautious if the person claims to be well known. Fourth, investigate the person you are communicating with. Fifth, ask friends and family for advice. Source: sigadigitale.dk. To a different day and main story from Friday, February 20th. The Danish Health Authority warns against puff bars and e-cigarettes after death. The Danish Health Authority warns against illegal liquids in puff bars and e-cigarettes following a death caused by poisoning with the synthetic cannabinoid 5-FADB, also known as 5-FMDMB Pinaka. According to the Department of Forensic Medicine at Aarhus University, the substance caused the death. The substance is an illegal intoxicant, and even small amounts can lead to severe poisoning and, in the worst case, death. Authorities fear that products purchased in unauthorized shops may contain dangerous substances in addition to nicotine. A report from the Center for Alcohol and Drug Research also shows that 9.1% of young people aged 15 to 25 in 2025 used puff bars in the past month, underlining the concern. Authorities continuously monitor the drug situation in Denmark in cooperation with the police and customs agency. Now to some other news. We begin on Tuesday, February 17th. We begin with politics. Moderates appoint new leaders. Mohamed Rona becomes the parliamentary group leader. Monica Rubin returns from maternity leave, and Mette Kierkegaard takes new spokesperson's roles. And abroad, Danish man detained in Mexico. A judge upholds the detention of a Danish man accused of attempted sexual assault on a 7-year-old girl. Pre-trial detention may last up to 2 years. Back to Denmark, arson suspects in Valby. A 17-year-old and a 19-year-old are charged with arson at a hair salon. The 17-year-old is already in custody. 76-year-old hit-and-run driver diagnosed with dementia. The diagnosis may affect his legal responsibility in last year's Copenhagen accident where he drove into a crowd. Teen charged with drug driving. A 16-year-old girl in Odense was stopped while driving under the influence of drugs. Authorities notified her guardian and social services. Mother and son charged. A 29-year-old man and his 53-year-old mother face charges after repeated drug driving incidents. Opioids were found in the car. 18-year-old remanded for arson. A woman from Kolding is held in custody for multiple arson cases until March 17th. Railway bell accident trial. A 51-year-old faces negligent manslaughter charges after stealing a railway bell, causing a 24-year-old man to be hit by a train. Safe zone fines in Copenhagen. 34 drivers fined near Tynesbo School for illegal entry into the safety zone. Bus accident death. 63-year-old woman dies after being hit by a bus on Nørre Allé, Copenhagen. 14-year-old rescued on ice. Boy rescued after venturing far on ice near Hvidovre Harbor. Air and fire services assisted. New Reisecard, Basis Card, physical card for adults, seniors and disabled passengers now active, allows check-in for additional passengers, bikes and dogs. AI cheating is widespread. 2/3 of high school students admit to using AI to cheat on assignments. 9 out of 10 did it in group work. Avian influenza on Lowland, 22 chickens infected, 3 kilometers protection zone and 10 kilometers surveillance zone established. Winter injuries rise. Snow and ice leads to 820 fall injury reports, a 28% increase from last year. Pedestrians are urged to wear slip-resistant shoes. Netflix series allowed in classrooms. Danish schools can now show adolescents in teaching to discuss teen issues. The series deals with topics like violence and accountability. News from Wednesday, February 18th. King visits Greenland. King Frederik arrives in Nuuk for his 3rd visit since becoming monarch in January of 2024. The stay lasts until Friday. Extensive cyber attacks on Danish authorities. Nearly 40 websites of ministries, municipalities and companies targeted by Russian hacker groups, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Danish National Police and Danfoss. 16-year-old charged for threatening teacher. Boy from Haslev arrested for threatening a teacher at his former school. DIA director stepped down. Henrik Bo Nielsen and Lasse Beskær Jensen leaves as DIA merges 3 director roles into 1 new content editor position. Sensitive letters found in snow near Ranas. At least 30 letters with personal data were discovered. The postman was held responsible. Romanian man jailed for drunk driving accident. 23-year-old sentenced to 1.5 years. Expelled from Denmark for 6 years after seriously injuring pedestrian with BAC over 2.0. Sølvbank violates payment law. The Sønderborg court rules the bank did not comply with Competition Council orders from 2021 regarding payment regulations. Unusually cold weather affects employment. January unemployment rises by 500 due to halted construction activity. The total is now nearly 90,000. New mobile field hospital for the Danish Army. Rheinmetall contracted to deliver hospitals for battlefield casualty care, arriving this year and next. Energy company reported to police for hidden fee. Energy Plus fined for not clearly showing a monthly fee of 33.34 Danish kroner on its website. Now to news from Thursday, February 19th. Woman kidnapped for 18 hours. 6 defendants deny charges of detaining a woman last March in Glostrup. One 32-year-old Norwegian man is also charged with assault, rape and forcibly shaving the victim. The incident followed police confiscation of 33,000 Danish kroner and drugs. Million Danish kroner robbery at watch store. 2 Montenegrin men sentenced to 5.5 years and a Dutch man to 1.5 years for robbing an Aarhus watch store on May of 2023. 62 watches worth 5.6 million Danish kroner, including Rolex and Omega, were stolen. Romanian couple charged for multiple theft. 41-year-old man and 29-year-old woman suspected of at least 7 store thefts nationwide. Police seized 15 moving boxes of stolen goods. To a separate case, foreign couple deported. After less than a day, 40-year-old man and 28-year-old woman sentenced to 4 months in prison and immediate expulsion, arrested in Herning. Serious bus brake faults uncovered. Police inspected 55 buses on Funun and Jutland. 14 were sent for inspection, and 3 had plates removed due to severe brake issues. 800 pheasants killed near Holbæk. The Danish Veterinary and Food Administration euthanizes birds after avian flu is detected. There have been 3 infected flocks since January 1st, and over 300,000 birds were killed last year. Now to news from Friday, February 20th. A 32-year-old Swedish man from Gävle has been charged with multiple sexual offenses against 27 girls, including one from Denmark, all committed online between 2020 and 2025. He faces 50 counts of child rape and other charges between 2020 and 2025. The man previously worked at a school, but no pupils there were affected. Aalborg knife murder. 38-year-old man stabbed to death. 33-year-old suspect shot in leg by police. Preliminary hearing held at Aalborg Court. New Danish total emergency preparedness. Government ministers present new total preparedness plan and emergency package. Water disaster preparedness plan. The government is to invest 254 million Danish kroner by 2029 in new water sector disaster readiness. Norwegian hired for murder in Denmark. 36-year-old Norwegian sentenced to 13 years for 2 attempted killings in September of 2025, hired by unknown people and promised 600,000 Swedish krona. 5 Romanians jailed for motor oil theft, stole 90 containers in Frederiksværk, sentenced to 20 days in prison and deported. Fyn bomb plot. 3 men were convicted for attempting to detonate 4.4 kilos of dynamite in Odense in December of 2023. It was stopped seconds before ignition. 24-year-old arrested for multiple violent crimes. Man in Aarhus charged with 5 counts of aggravated assault and robbery in Viby and Højbjerg. Amphetamine possession case. 31-year-old man and a 27-year-old woman in Aarhus caught for possession of several kilos of amphetamine with intent to distribute. Rema 1000 thefts. 45-year-old woman charged with 12 shoplifting incidents in Aulum, suspected of exploiting self-scan system. The government invests in local shopping streets. 92 million Danish kroner is allocated to revitalize selected town centers and boost activity in quieter commercial streets. News from Saturday, February 21st. US submarine crew evacuated in Greenland. Crew member needed urgent medical care. 7 nautical miles off Nuuk, evacuated via Danish Seahawk helicopter to Nuuk Hospital. 3 robberies at Superbrugsen in a day. A masked man threatened staff with a knife in Them. 3 similar robberies were reported in 24 hours. 2 youths charged with shooting at Brønshøj apartment, suspected of attempted murder, both deny charges, awaiting custody hearing. Police focus on Helsingør-Helsingborg ferry after break-ins, increasing cross-border burglaries by traveling criminals. Suspect at large after armed Superbrugsen robbery. Knife-wielding man robbed Nørresnede store Friday evening. Police seeking witnesses. 2 men jailed for possible abduction in Dronningmølle, held 13 days, suspected of detaining and assaulting a man. 115,000 hens culled due to avian flu. A large flock of Herlufmagle was destroyed to prevent spread. National Diabetes Screening Proposal. Diabetesforeningen suggests home test every 5 years for ages 50 to 70. Green light for wolf regulation. Wolves near Oksbøl and Blåvand may be controlled after 3 close encounters with humans. Sunday, February 22nd. In a tragic case, missing young man found dead in Copenhagen, discovered in water near Knippelsbro, relatives notified. In a different tragic story, 57-year-old dies in Holbæk traffic accident, frontal collision on Nykøbingvej, 2 others hospitalized, 1 seriously. Young woman arrested for biting and hitting police, incident at Aarhus nightclub, charged with 2 counts of assault. 36-year-old jailed for allotment house fire in Aalborg, suspicion of arson, denies charges, has appealed. 3 jailed after chrysanthemum bomb explosion, Albertslund incident on January 16, all deny charges. Vandalism in Svendborg town center, cars damage, supermarket disruption, suspect in custody. DSB warns of train cancellations, material shortages and maintenance issues due to weather affect multiple lines until March 1st. Monday, February 23rd. Government nearly out of defense funds, only 9 billion Danish kroner left of 361.1 billion allocated for 2024 through 2033 defense spending. Millions allocated for female statues. Culture Minister Jakob Engelsmith announces 10 million Danish kroner for public statues of women. Copenhagen City Hall, lit in Ukrainian colors, marks 4 years anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. 3 in 4 Ukrainians wish to stay in Denmark. Rockwool Foundation analysis shows rising intention to remain. Over half fear deportation. 1 in 4 Ukrainian children struggles in Danish schools. Loneliness and difficulty integrating due to frequent school changes and language barriers. 250 summer houses at risk of flooding. Melting snow causes water levels to rise at Bjergsulstrand, outlets blocked by sand. SFO substitute admits photographing children aged 5 to 9. 15 children affected, sentenced to 1.5 years, suspended prison. 51-year-old jailed for intentional vehicular assault in Ishøy, 4-week pre-trial detention, wife also endangered. 35-year-old sentenced for fatal accident at Kærshovedgård, 6 years in prison, deportation for causing the death of a 55-year-old in April of 2024. 2 hospitalized after Værløse fire in businesses, grill bar destroyed, residents evacuated. 2 Romanian men were deported after theft in Østbirk, 20-day sentences and a 6-year re-entry ban. 7 sperm whales were found dead along Denmark's west coast. 2 wells at Skælling Strand, north of Fanø, will be examined and removed Tuesday. 2 at Søren Jessen Sand and 1 in 2 will remain to decompose naturally. Announcement made by Environment Minister Magnus Heunicke on Facebook. Region Nordjylland selects Swedish company Premedic as its new ambulance provider. Premedic will handle ambulance services and patient transport in Himmerland, Hanherred, 2 and Mors. The contract runs from April 1st, 2027 for 5 years. Now to some Danish business news from February 18th through 23rd. US dollar falls after Trump tariff news. The dollar drops at 0.6% in Asia after the US Supreme Court overturned Trump's tariffs. Trump imposes a new 15% tariff. Bitcoin falls at 4.6%, below $65,000. ISS shares tumble despite profit. Danish service giant ISS posts over 2 billion Danish kroner profit in 2025, but shares drop at 7% after slightly missing investor expectations. The Danish economy grew 2.9% in 2025. GDP growth exceeds expectations. Fourth quarter of 2025, growth is modest at 0.2% versus third quarter. Record number of Danes opened stock savings accounts. 167,000 new accounts in 2025. Total reaches 658,000, over 10% of the population. Employment hits an all-time high. Just over 3 million wage earners in December. Employment has risen by 24 months consecutively. Arla post record revenue, 15.1 billion euros, equivalent to approximately 112 billion Danish kroner in 2025, driven by higher butter prices, protein products, and acquisitions. Flying Tiger Copenhagen appoints new CEO. Martin Germain steps down. Jens Aarup Mikkelsen takes over, focusing on international growth. Genmab revenue rises on cancer drug sales. 2025 revenue reaches $3.7 billion, equivalent to approximately 23 billion Danish kroner, up by 19% from 2024, driven by Darzalex sales. LB Forsikring warns of thaw risk. Melting snow may cause flooding and water damage. Homeowners are urged to check drainage. NKT secures €6 billion copper supply contract. Contract runs 2028 through 2036, ensuring raw material for cable production. Bouillon expands to Hamburg. Danish-French restaurant chain opens new branch April 29th. Frederiksberg location opened in 2023. Summer house market hits up 613 transactions in January, over 9% year-on-year. Strongest growth in Ringkøbing-Skjern, over 59%, and Odense, over 34%. That's all for tonight's headlines. Don't miss out. Subscribe to Danish Info News TV for the latest updates, in-depth reports, and breaking news from Denmark and around the world.